Alright, so I got about 10 minutes of talking to do here while you get to watch me put down nitrogen onto this field of hay. This field of hay was made twice last year. As you can see, the wind is blowing pretty good, but a lot of the ground that I did last year, about 2,000 extra acres, not quite 2,000 acres, were done twice last year. The thing with making hay twice on one field is you really have to feed the crap out of it. And I mean, I'm not joking when I say you got to feed the crap out of it. That means you really have to feed it. You take away your potash and your phosphorus, but there's enough phosphorus on here, and fertilizers are a little bit acidic, and this ground is acidic also, so you just kind of have to put fertilizer and lime and get the nutrients up to where it belongs in order to be able to do this. Now, this field is actually very, very long and narrow. It takes 3 boom widths to get across the whole thing, and there's a small section down at the very bottom and like sway bellies out, and I have to get that one. And I do have some overlap, which I flip the boom tips on and off so that I don't overlap too much, but this sprayer is a little funny. It only wants to spray 90 feet, and if it says 20 gallons on 90 feet, if I flip one off, it still wants to put 20 gallons out, and it ups the pressure. It's kind of crazy that way. So, yeah. There's some rather invasive weeds that came up after I took this crop off the second time, because when you get a nice, thick, heavy second cut off of it, and you slice it off, that exposes the weed seeds or the seedlings that have sprouted to sunlight. And if all the elements are correct, the weeds will just say, hey, I'm going to grow. And that's what has happened here. I have got anything from Canada thistle to, mugwort and all sorts of other things. And I set my camera up. I was going to delete that part out, but you can see how wide this thing is, and then you back it up to the edge. Especially here, you want to do that because the mugwort the mugwort is up in this corner really bad, and it reseeds and blows downwind, makes a hell of a mess. So what I'm using is 2,4-D and it's basically the Banville, but it's not Banville. It's called Clarity. Clarity is 70% less volatile than the predecessor, Banville. And you can still buy Banville, and Banville works wonderfully. It's about $1.50 an acre cheaper to use Banville, but it's 70% less volatile. So you really got to be careful as to what you're doing, or you're going to be, spending more money than you should. And I opted for the Clarity for 2 reasons. One, 70% less volatility means that I'm not poisoning the earth with volatile chemical. And the other is that 70% is on the plant, and it's working 70% better for me. So that's why I went with that. Yeah. So I pull up here. I am out of fertilizer. So I'm going to come over here again, shut off the camera, and boom, here comes Cody. And I did not delete out that sound, so we got to figure out why I haven't gotten that sound off. That doesn't really matter, but anyways, this is the procedure to get the hoses all hooked up. He has to bring a pump and 2 hoses, one coming out of the tank of the tender, the other coming out of coming out of the pump to the sprayer. So when he gets this thing fired up, I'm putting in 2,4-D right now, and no, I am not rinsing the jugs out at this moment, and now I'm putting in the Clarity. They're relatively safe chemicals. I wouldn't want to drink them, but for the most part, use your standard protective gloves and glasses and things like that. I should be wearing a full face shield, but I've learned how to pour a jug of this stuff so that it doesn't spray up into my face. But on a rare occasion, you will have that issue of a splash. So now you get to watch me and Cody just kind of discuss and bullshit about what the day is bringing and what's going on. As you can see, the grass is getting on pretty tall here. It's up over the hitch because I'm about a week late applying this fertilizer. Not that it makes much of a difference. It's just I would have rather been out here a week and a half before now. And Dad called. He was having troubles with a boom, which was no big deal because he's running the other sprayer. I really should give Cody a camera and say, hey, or film what you're doing with Grandpa, but I didn't do that because honestly, cameras are expensive. I only have one good one. I do have a couple of small ones that I use from time to time, but again, they're not the greatest cameras in the world, but they do work. This one here is not the greatest camera in the world. I can't put a microphone on it because it's waterproof and shockproof. It's the Olympus Tough Cam. So anyway, this procedure takes, I don't know, I've sped this thing up 400% because it would take me, I think it was over an hour's worth of footage is what you're going to see in 10 minutes. And I don't think anybody would sit and watch for an hour as me and Cody do our daily thing, well, he's in school, so he's not doing the daily thing, but he's doing the Friday to Sunday thing. And now I am just kind of wrestling with this tripod that I bought, or actually Teresa bought it, and there he goes to tend Grandpa, because that tank holds about 2,000 gallons. And as you can see, you can't really see too many of the weeds, but you do see those lighter colors as you go across the field. And not just the mustard that's there, but there's just some spots that the weeds came up in late last fall. And we really didn't have too harsh of a fall. We didn't have an October kill off, and that usually knocks those broadleaf weeds down and it doesn't bother anything. But, it's, we're like 2 weeks behind. But anyways, this Clarity is supposed to do the job. It's supposed to. Now I'm going to touch up on last video that I produced about, city people or non-ag folks, that just don't understand what we're doing out here. It's a sad thing when you can have a group of people, and I say a group of people because it is a group of people, these organic people, and I'm not saying that this quote-unquote organic farming is bad, because it's not bad. It's not bad, but I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with organic farming and organic farmers and all that. Organic farming is an expensive way to do it. The reason it's so expensive is because it's the old way of doing things. Back in the 1930s, 20s, 30s, 40s, and from the 1940s back to the beginning of time, there were no chemicals. Tractors were a rarity. They weren't something that everybody had. They were something that quote-unquote rich farmers had. And a lot of farmers went broke after they bought tractors because, they were expensive. And, no matter what you do, you could do more ground, but that doesn't mean you're going to get more ground, because back in those days, everybody was a farmer. Which brings me to the point that I'm about to prove. As organic farming becomes, everybody wants to get into it because it's, a more profitable, quote unquote, which I don't believe it is. They get some benefits from the government, which, I don't get anymore. And I don't believe they do either. I know a couple of organic guys that are just crying because there was a subsidy there for a while that they were able to get, which is no longer available, and they're still in this very expensive way of doing agriculture. No matter how you slice it and dice it, if they were out there with hoes and horses raking weeds out, maybe they'd be able to do up to 50 acres by hand, possibly 100 by hand with everybody in their family. But when you start having to hire people to do the work that you need to have done, that's when it gets expensive. But they're not doing that. They have tractors just like I do. They have corn planters and discs and chisel plows and moldboard plows and all the things that I have. Plus they have, and they have this reduced yield. The problem with that is that as more and more people get this brilliant idea that they're going to be organic farmers, the price of organic goods goes down. It just goes down. And they're going to be in worse shape than what the commercial grower or semi-commercial grower like myself is. Now, there's nothing I'm putting on the ground that I wouldn't be afraid to, go to bed without taking a shower with, even though I do take a shower afterwards because it's just a safety precaution, because you will have some contamination on your clothes, and it's just better to throw those clothes in the laundry, wash them, and go take a shower. Nitrogen isn't going to bother you. Potash isn't going to bother you. Sulfur isn't going to bother you. But some of the 2,4-Ds and the Clarity Banville type things, they're not good. Roundup, you could drink it if you wanted to. Not recommended, but you could. But anyway, I guess that's 10 minutes of me talking. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. You can please comment, rate, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. If you can't subscribe because you're not YouTube, you don't have a YouTube profile, please go get that YouTube profile and subscribe to my channel if you like what you see, because I want that silver play button. It is my life goal at this point. So, thanks again.